Michigan State football, they are nixing their spring game, and I'm just not a fan of that one at all.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you very much for tuning into Locked On Spartans and making us your first listen of the day. Please rate, review, subscribe. Comment below your thoughts on Michigan State football getting rid of its spring game, spring showcase, open spring practice, whatever lingo you want to use about it. We will be talking Michigan State basketball, not just men's, but also women's too, with friend of the program, Dalton Shetler. So going to get into it all here. Start with football, then men's basketball, women's hoops to end it. But let's start with a conversation that is, just not the greatest news. It's nothing, earth-shattering. It's not going to change the trajectory of Michigan State's season, but, oh, man. What a bummer, as Michigan State did announce on Tuesday that they will be on the list of teams that will be nixing their spring game, not playing it, not having it televised or anything like that. And, citing transfer portal, citing the logistics with the stadium renovations, sure. Hardly the first team and only team to be doing that this offseason, canceling their spring showcase. It's now gotten to more than 20 Power 4 schools that have canceled their open spring practice here. And I went out to Twitter because I was curious to, get the fan base's pulse on this. I said, hey, hit me with your thoughts. MSU canceling its spring game is sad, bad, and no good was the first option. The second option was a good idea these days. And then the third option, which was the runaway leader, I couldn't care less. 60% of the 680 people that voted say they couldn't care less. Second place was a good idea these days at 22%, and then sad, bad, and no good, 16.9%. And I'm actually going to join the minority here. I don't think it's really great news. I mean, is it earth-shattering? Am I going to just pound the table and say, oh, how could they do this? No, but I am oddly somewhat passionate about it. I mean, I do get it. But I also don't. I mean, I get it from this point of view, right? Why put anything out there on film for your opponents? Literally anything, even if it is a game format, even a practice format, because it's not just the plays, the schemes, the formation that you could put out there that you don't want other teams to see, but also just personnel. What do they look like? Hey, are they the same starters? Do you have backups that are running with the starters? Any piece of information out there that teams can get, they will get it. There's actually a great piece on ESPN.com written by a few of their writers. They talked to a bunch of coaches about canceling spring games and practices. And there is one SEC coach that said, yes, we do have everyone on staff taping every possible spring game out there just to get any morsel of information out there. So I get it from that point of view. I get it from the transfer portal. I mean, last spring portal cycle alone, 900 guys entered their name. That was just in the spring. That wasn't even fall. That is just this little window that we're about to approach right here, guys. But here's where I start to stray away from all those points, because it's not like Michigan State has had guys getting sniped off their roster after the spring game or after showings that they've had on Big Ten Network. Believe me, I'm not just going to walk by the whole Simeon Barrow, Derek Harmon, Peyton Thorne, Keon Coleman thing. Guys that left in the spring, but you know what those four guys had in common is that they were all known about. These weren't some under-the-radar guys that really flashed at the spring game on Big Ten Network and then teams came in and snooped or swiped them away from us. No, I have incredible reason to believe all those guys were in contact with other schools long before the spring game happened. These were presumed starters. So I get I don't want anyone to tamper with my players. If they are, it's not because of the spring game. That's on Big Ten Network. I get that you want to lower the injury risk, I suppose, but that's what Jonathan Smith has done, not just last year at Michigan State, but also his time at Oregon State. It was very rarely, if ever, even in Corvallis, a game format for this last open spring practice or spring game. They switched it to a practice to, just like that, limit injuries. And also Jonathan Smith said at this press conference that while they're going to take away the spring game, spring showcase, like they're just going to turn it into, well, another one of these 15 spring practices that they're allotted. So it's not like just because the cameras aren't there takes away the entire risk of an injury. I don't know. So like that's why I'm bummed too, because like this was just always a practice under Jonathan Smith. And I don't really knock that. I get you don't want to maybe, throw out a bunch of plays, schemes, formation out there in a game style. But like this is it's a bummer for the community. Really, it's a bummer for us Michigan State fans. And I don't know, like it doesn't seem like Michigan State is going to win or lose games because like there's tape on David Santiago running with the starters, and that's seen on Big Ten Network. Like if Michigan State loses to Western Michigan week 1, it's not because that the Broncos got film on Christian McCray running routes on Big Ten Network. Like we got way bigger issues than that. If that's the reason Western Michigan is going to stun the world in week 1, like is risking like some backup transferring worth canceling an event that energizes the fan base, gives the community something to look forward to? Because I truly don't take that aspect for granted. I get that Michigan State, it's not like Nebraska, who fills up their stadium every spring game. It's not like we got 70,000 Spartans strong here in Spartan Stadium, but still, that is a good portion of the fan base that gets the momentum, that gets the energy, and also just gives the community a free event to go to. Like during the season, I'm sorry, you got a family of 4, you want to go to one of these early games. I guess maybe if you want to snag Youngstown tickets for $20 a pop to sit 50 rows up, like that's still not inexpensive. And more times than not, these tickets are 40 ahead, 50 ahead. I don't know. It's not everyone's balling out there in life, but a lot of people are Michigan State fans, and this is one way for some people to stay connected. So it's a bummer. And like the renovations excuse, I mean, not to just call Jonathan Smith a liar and say he's a coward for doing this, but pointing to renovations, the renovations are switching out the screens on the scoreboard and then making the suites and the club level a little nicer. Unless you're playing the scrimmage and Matt Ishbia's suite, I don't see how you could point to that. And even if there are renovations that, hey, maybe they needed some equipment in the bleachers, block it off. Like have all the fans sit on one side of the stadium while you have renovations going on elsewhere. I don't know. It just seems like a cheap cop out. I don't know. But like for the players, I get it. Like, you have the whole fall camp. You could do your dress rehearsals, your whole game day rehearsal in the fall camp. But hey, this would be a really nice first experience for all the newcomers, whether they're freshmen, early enrollees, or transfers. There's a great deal of those kind of guys on this team. And also, more importantly, I think, you're going to have recruits on campus that weekend. Show them a heightened atmosphere, more than just a practice. Get them knowing the fan base a little bit, seeing somewhat of the passion that is here in East Lansing. But I get it. Paranoia is everything in this sport these days, and for a good reason. I'm not just going to dismiss that and say that, oh, they're idiots for being worried. Like, no, there is some credence to it. I just think it's a little overblown with canceling an event or something like this. I do hope that they do have something for the fans here announced soon, whether that's going to be in the spring. I doubt the summer because all the players are back home, but maybe in the fall. I don't know, like Nebraska, for example, like they're doing a day of 7-on-7 competitions with former and current players. They got some skills challenges for fans. Oklahoma, Texas, they're doing more of like a fan fest thing. And this is really where maybe my passion comes is like newsflash for Michigan State. You guys need a jolt of energy in this program. Like, I get it. Diehards will always stick around. They were around for the very end of the season against Rutgers. There are some diehards that do make a thing out of the spring game. But this is also where you get some of the fans that, just watch every Saturday if things are going really well. That's still a healthy portion of all fan bases, not just Michigan State fans. Apathy has never been higher around these parts, around this football program. And it's not all Jonathan Smith's fault. I mean, let's not get it twisted here. It's not just for, hey, he had a bad season in year 1 of a rebuild that is the reason why no one cares. Like, no, it's been 3 years since we've seen a bowl game. There's a lot of reasons how it's gotten to this point, but energizes fan base, like especially the Lansing area too, guys. Like you just took a home game away from the Lansing area fans, which, yes, I agree is a good move, but my God, like, let's not take even more away from everyone that lives in the Lansing area. So I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way that they took this away. And I really think that a program in Michigan State's shoes that has an apathy in their fan base could really use something like this. So hopefully they make things right with like a fan event. Really quick, there is actually a portal hopefully candidate on campus right now that I did just want to shine a light on. Ashad Williams, 6'2", 3-year player out of North Alabama of the FCS. Now, he played primarily outside corner for North Alabama. And, it's a position of need. Obviously, defensive back as a whole is a position of need. You lost Chuck Brantley. You lost Ed Woods. You even want to throw Angelo Gross out there? Say what you will about him. He's experienced, and that was a defensive back. So with Ashad Williams coming on campus, it's following a theme that Jonathan Smith talked about at his press conference, that they want guys with visible production, like Josh Eaton out of Texas State, they already got. Malcolm Bell out of UConn, they already got. Nijay Burt out of Eastern Illinois, that they already got. Now, Bell and Burt, those are both guys that were above 75 on Pro Football Focus, if you want to take their word for it. Now, Burt, he was the highest graded guy over at Eastern Illinois. Malcolm Bell was the second highest graded guy at UConn. With Ashad Williams, you got North Alabama's highest graded defensive player on that squad, who went 3-9 last year, so it's not like they had a great year, but still the best player on a defense, nevertheless, at an 81.6 grade. He had 510 snaps last year. Overall, in 32 games, he had 15 pass breakups. He will also visit Purdue later on this month. All right, let's talk some round ball with our friend Dalton Shetler, but first need to talk everyone's ear off about Upwork. That's right, guys. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts ready to help you take your business to that next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries. We're talking IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. If you need help with a marketing campaign, Upwork is perfect, guys. They can connect you with a freelance expert who's delivered incredible results. And posting the job is free and simple. And within a day, with multiple qualified candidates to choose from, you will find your pair almost instantly. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's UPWORK.com, Upwork.com, to connect with top talent and grow your business today. Also, guys, let's talk about protecting your family with Fabric. I get it. Life moves fast, way too fast, especially with a family. One day you're watching your kids take their first steps, and before you know it, they're off to college. Jeez, that's a sad thing to read. That's why securing their future is so important. Fabric by Gerber Life makes it simple to get term life insurance that fits your family's needs. With Fabric, you can apply for term life insurance online right from your couch. You can be covered in under 10 minutes, and in many cases, no health exam is required. As a parent, I want to make sure my family is financially protected no matter what happens. Fabric gives me that peace of mind. So, what are you waiting for? Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their families. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. That's meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions. Folks, it is near dear friend of the program. It has been way too long since we've had him on, so we decided to reach out to him at arguably the busiest time of his entire year. It is voice of women's basketball for your Michigan State Spartans on the Spartan Media Network. Of course, we're talking Dalton Shetler. Dalton, what's the heart rate at right now? Are we doing okay right now? Are you like me and you're ready to just get sick right now?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Fully enveloped into the madness. Look at this. I already got the prep sheet going. We are ready to go for MSU women's basketball. We are, and of course, men's basketball. What a time it is. This is always my favorite time. Even not a 15 team, but this is just the best.
I love it. I was talking with a coworker today, and I was like, yeah, I just love this time of year. And then I paused for 5 seconds. I was like, you know what? That's a lie, actually. I also hate this time of year at the same time. Like, nothing gets me more excited than March Madness. Nothing also makes me physically ill, like the idea of your team playing in March Madness. But this is why we live it up this time of year. It's every single emotion possible.
But that's why you're perfect, Matt, especially for the fans. Reading your Twitter timeline, I just ride the roller coaster with you. I think we all do.
Yeah, either, people can attach their feelings with mine, or I can make them feel a lot better about themselves and realize that, my life isn't that out of control. My God, this guy should see professional help. But there's neither here nor there. Look, we're going to talk about the women's draw coming up. They got a game against Harvard this upcoming Saturday. I think they can make the Sweet 16, but maybe I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid over here. But we're going to start with men's basketball, and we're going to start with a really hard question, Dalton. Now, this comes from Alex, who always delivers fantastic questions whenever we open up the mailbag at Sheehan_sports or LockedOnSpartans@gmail.com. The question is, who is your X factor in order for MSU to make a deep tournament run? He writes in, for me, it's Jackson Kohler. His rebounding presence down low and ability to shoot the three helps steady this team. Him getting in foul trouble has been an issue in the last few games recently. The reason this is such a hard question, Dalton, is because, like, A, everyone has a different definition of what an X factor truly is, and B, right. Well, haven't we picked the roster where it could be anyone that is considered an X factor on this team, maybe outside of Jace Richardson? I think that'd be a little bit of a stretch to call him an X factor at this point, but I don't know, like, is it Cohen Carr for what he can do in the transition game, especially against a team like Bryant, who likes to go up and down the court at a rapid pace? Is it Frankie Fiddler for what he could do getting to the line and also what he offers defensively, especially in these bigger body players that we'll see against Bryant, should we say Marquette, New Mexico? But I'm going to go with Tre Holloman. And I'm sorry to be so hung up on this 2 versus 15 game, Dalton, because I've just been scarred from what happened 9 years ago. But, like, look, I think that it is an important matchup. I'm going to go to Tre right off the bat here because that's not to say I think Jeremy Fears will have a bad game. But with those bigger bodied guards, with 6 of their 7 top players being upperclassmen, like we've seen Jeremy struggle against bigger body guys, older guys throughout the season. Yes, he finished really well in the Big Ten tournament, but should he take a relapse here? It's got to be Tre being the steady hand off the bench. So that's my X factor. Did I hear that you're going to agree with that? Or are you going to go elsewhere, Mr. Shetler?
No, you did nail exactly mine. Maybe I should have texted you beforehand. That way I could have.
No. That's fine. That's fine.
But no, Tre would have been my guy too. And the reason why is not even so much just for the 2-15 matchup. As I started to take a look at Michigan State and a macro potential run, at a certain point, you're going to have to hit shots. You're going to have to just have somebody who steps to the plate and gets buckets. Every team that makes a Final Four, makes a deep run, they've got somebody that steps up and just has moments. And Tre Holloman might be the most microwave-y player that this backcourt has for Michigan State. So that's kind of how I saw it. I mean, we saw the time where at Michigan, the 3 straight threes. I mean, in a lot of ways, he's been a heartbeat of this group, right? I mean, he saves the game late at Maryland with the half-court heave. We know what happened on senior day and how things finished there with the dust finally settling, that it kicked up a little bit. But it's a lot of things that really exemplifies a leader of this group. And so the more and more as he's kind of become the heartbeat, he also has that microwave ability. So I go Tre Holloman for that reason.
You know, I like that you brought up just not what he offers, you know, between the 94 feet of baseline, but just, you know, in between the ears, what he does too. And this could also be an X factor because it can teeter on the other side of bringing too much intensity. And that's the joy with a player like Tre Holloman. And I love it. Like, I love him for what he brings energy-wise to the court. But we've also seen him obviously go a little over the line against Wisconsin. You're not supposed to put your finger 4 inches from another player's face when they're just trying to enjoy their huddle. Should he have been teed up against Iowa? I'll lean in. I don't want to get everyone upset here, but yeah, he absolutely should have been teed up against Iowa. But look, he also offers that spark, though. Like, I don't think Michigan State wins that game at Iowa without the energy that he injected into the game. I mean, he stood on business against Michigan. I mean, I'm not saying that, he's got to rein it in and get himself completely under control. No, be yourself. But you got to just, like, stop an inch short of that line to go overboard here, especially in an emotional tournament like this big dance. So I'm glad we're in lockstep with Tre Holloman, and I'm really glad that you brought up just not what he offers, you know, shooting-wise. Defensively, of course, you know, something that we should talk about too. But, yeah, I got to go with the first guy off the bench here, and that's Tre Holloman. That's not to say, like, I didn't mention this guy when I just ran through the candidates too. Carson Cooper has been having a really strong month, and if he can continue that trajectory – again, not saying he's going to be like all tournament team, but if you could just anchor down defense somewhat adequately, offer some pick and roll dunks where both your feet are higher than your ears when you're hanging on the rim, sure. Don't threaten me with a good time, Carson.
And Kohler's not a bad answer by Alex.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Like, I see that too. In games where Jackson Kohler steps up and cleans the glass and dominates, really applying himself the way we've seen throughout the season at different times, Michigan State doesn't lose when he puts together those games. So that's a fair answer too.
100%. And you know what? We're going to go to another mailbag question here before we start talking women's hoops. Jarrett wrote in, love the show. Just a question for you. I love you, Jarrett. Appreciate that. Why do you think this MSU team can become the first unranked team at the start of the season that is a 1 or 2 seed in the NCAA tournament to make a Final Four. So yes, that is a true stat. If you're unranked in the AP preseason poll and you finish the season as a 1 or a 2 seed, no team has ever gone to the Final Four. How can Michigan State break that trend? There's only about 17 answers that you can say, Dalton, whether it's the rebounding, the defense, the free throw shooting. What have you? Because I really am honing in on the defense here, top 5 Mark Torvik, but is that what you're loving, or is there something else that you were really loving about this team making a run here?
Honestly, to me, it's a combo of two of them that you just said, defending and rebounding. I think the way that this group has been able to do that so efficiently, where they're ranking top 5, top 10, top 3, and some of those different stats in terms of rebound rate, defensive rate, the opponent field goal percentage, I think that in itself, you talk about, we're going to be talking about the women here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Their head coach, Robin Freilich, says all the time, look, I may not be good at math, but I can do basketball math. And if you get more possessions than the other team, you get more shots, it usually leads to wins. That's the way you play it. And for Michigan State, if they clean the glass the way they do and continue to in March, there's reason to buy in. And defensively, the way they've guarded throughout this season, there's reason to buy in. And, of course, another phrase that Robin Freilich uses on the women's side is how connected basketball is. We know with the Tom Izzo entire era, all 3 decades as head coach, you defend, you rebound, and you run. And Michigan State in the fast break is just a heck of a lot more dangerous of a team than when they get put into the half court. The thing that's different about this year's team is they still have capability of scoring in the half court, where I think in the previous couple of seasons that's lacked a little bit. But no, to guard and rebound at such a high level as they do, there's reason to buy stock.
Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building your wealth. Now, guys, when I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and save more. And it's very easy to collaborate with your partner with Monarch Money. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without all the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, that's all one word, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for half off your first.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
So let's switch it up. Let's talk about this women's basketball team because, again, Saturday mid-afternoon, I believe it's a 4:30 game. Is that what I've got?
You got it.
There we go. ESPN News. Now, they drew Harvard. Harvard's a 10 seed. Michigan State, your Spartans are the 7 seed there. Now, Michigan State has lost 6 in the last 10 games. However, 3 have been against top 15 teams. It's not like they're just getting beat by, schmucks down the road here. No, it's a grind of a league in Big Ten women's hoops. You thought it was bad for men's hoops? Woo! The women's hoops grind has been even more of a piece of work. So with all that said, with kind of getting to the finish line, losing more games than they've won in the last 10 games, is there still a confidence in the air? Is Robin Freilich fine with her team going into the tournament, or just give us a pulse of what's going on in that locker room right now?
So it's a great question. I'm glad you applied the context because it finished with going to number 1 UCLA, which, by the way, Michigan State and UCLA were fighting down the stretch. There's a controversial ending and a technical that, look, I understand I wear green and white glasses, but it was absolutely ridiculous. And
absurd, yeah.
So you take that into fact, the controversial ending. You lose at number 4 USC, who ends up being the Big Ten champs, while you lose by 8 to them, while you shot 1 of 13 from 3. You shoot your average, you're right there at USC. When they went to Ohio State, who was number 12 in the country, that's the best team or the best game Ohio State's played all season. So when you apply those contexts to all of that, you kind of come away and say, oh, we're not far away. It wasn't so much a confidence hit. to your question, and you took care of business against an Indiana team who's in the tournament, took care of business against Minnesota, and you dropped quickly in the Big Ten tournament in a game where you just shot yourself in the foot. I mean, 25, 24 turnovers. It's too much to overcome. And Iowa's a team that's a 6th seed in the NCAA tournament, and it's a team that Michigan State beat earlier this season. So it's not so much that, and then talking with Robin and the staff, this last week and a half, because remember, the Big Ten tournament is a week prior on the women's side to the men. So they've had a week and a half where they've just been here practicing against themselves. And Robin and the group really have valued that time. And they say it's kind of refreshed a spirit of competitiveness. It's refreshed a lot of individuals who may have been kind of going up and down a little bit. They really like what has happened in this week off heading to the big dance.
Now, unlike Michigan State, Harvard comes into this white hot. I mean, there's a reason that you play in the Ivy League and you get all the way up to a 10 seed. Like, you don't just get that out of nowhere. Why is Harvard going to be a tough out here? Before I start wishing and dreaming that they're going to beat NC State in the second round here, I guess we should talk about the first game. What does make Harvard dangerous here, though, on Saturday?
Well, there are a couple of common opponents, and both Michigan State and Harvard beat all of them. But Harvard went to Indiana and beat a ranked Indiana team, I think the second game of the season. That took overtime, but they got that win. They defeated Northwestern earlier this season as well. Both teams played Yale, and Michigan State defeated all those teams as well. But that Indiana team that they beat, and it's really the one they kind of hang their hat on, and as they should. It's a ranked win. It's the second one they've had in 25 years. But that Indiana team was a little bit different than the Indiana team at the end of the season. They were playing different lineups. That team had 20-some turnovers. What you need to know about Harvard, they play stout defensively. They give up 52.5 points a game. Their tempo, they're 300-plus in the country. Michigan State is 13th in the country when it comes to tempo. So it's going to be a little bit different styles. But what makes Harvard really interesting, too, is they only give up 52.5 points a game. They play slow tempo, but they'll full court press the entire game. So it's a really odd dynamic they play. Offensively, they got a walking bucket named Harmony Turner. She's averaging 23 points a game. She was Ivy League Player of the Year in the Ivy Madness Conference semifinals, they call it, for the tournament. She dropped 44 points, which was a new record. She is a bucket. Now, the thing to keep in mind, and we'll talk about Michigan State some too, and they only have one other double-digit scorer outside of her on that roster. Harvard does. But for Michigan State, you're looking at a group who is right now at 373 steals on the season as a team. That's 3 away from setting the new school record here at Michigan State for most steals in a season. The Spartans have 4 players in the top 10 of the Big Ten in steals per game. So what I'm curious about is seeing Michigan State with defenders like Nyla Hampton, Jaden Simmons, Jocelyn Tate, throwing those at this bucket that is Harmony Turner, and kind of seeing if that relentlessness and that constant pressure of being able to cycle through some elite defenders, if that doesn't maybe wear Turner down, where she hasn't been maybe pushed the same way in the Ivy League.
Everyone that's not driving right now, close your eyes. Dream with me. Okay, because I filled up my women's bracket the other day, and I put Michigan State right in that Sweet 16. And I asked myself, am I just doing this because I own 58 Michigan State shirts and I just bleed green through every pore of my body? No, not entirely, because I am married to this fact that they have played in a really strong Big Ten conference. And that's not to say the ACC is any slouch. NC State is obviously going to be a tough game, especially at their home venue. But, man, they got firepower in East Lansing. This team still finished 3rd amongst most points per game in the Big Ten. Do you have anything more than just hey, they have a really good offense and we just love Michigan State so much, why not put them in the Sweet 16? Do you have more reason to believe that they could stun the women's college basketball world and make their way to the Sweet 16 out of Raleigh here?
I do. And I genuinely believe that Michigan State has that capability for a couple of reasons. One, you talk about the Big Ten gauntlet it is. The Big Ten got 12 teams in, nearly had 13 into this field of 68. Yeah. I mean, it's a new conference record. This league is ridiculous, and adding USC and UCLA was a level above ridiculous in terms of the talent pool expanding. But for this Michigan State group on the women's side, when you look at the totality of the season, they've had games where they've found ways to win. California, Vanderbilt, out there in Palm Springs, California, they won the Acrisure Invitational Championship, which, by the way, Cal and Vandy are both 8 and 7 seeds in this field as well. These are really good teams. But the first win over Iowa, 68-66, they didn't play well, but they found a way to win. They've had some of that capability, but we haven't seen too many times where Michigan State has fully hit its potential, I believe. And I think it's still in the tank. I think you referenced the trip to Ann Arbor, which that was one to remember forever. Yeah.
Had a great
trailing
time.
At halftime and winning by 30. That second half, it was insane. Like, it was pure euphoria. But the way they played that second half, they're capable of that. I think the game they had at Illinois earlier this season, they found a way to put it all together. Outside of that, I mean, a lot of these losses, even to the teams that we talk about, UCLA, USC, Ohio State, I think Michigan State left some on the table. And so when you put that effect in and you put in the vibes of this staff is feeling pretty good about what this last week was able to accomplish, I think if they grab what they've left on the table in some of these other games, they're absolutely capable of making a Sweet 16, which, by the way, Matt, this would be the first one in 16 years. Spartans have not been in the Sweet 16 since 2009. And this is the highest seed that this team has had since 2016. So when you start talking about some of the past, like, for a team that still maybe has a little bit left in the tank in terms of potential to maybe hit again, there's reason to believe.
Things are moving on the way up for Robin Freilich in year number 2. So thrilled to have her here in East Lansing, doing great things for the women's basketball program. And Dalton, can't thank you enough for hopping on this show. I figured we might as well just give you some work to do this week. I know it's a sleepy week for you, so I'll keep Dalton entertained here. Otherwise, he'd be sleeping as my guest. No, I actually can't believe you found some time to join this show, man. This has been a hoot and a half as always, and looking forward to, hearing all the calls for the women's basketball team. If it's 1, 2, 6 games, let's just really dream right now.
I'm with you.
So let's go. Come on.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to make the time. Anytime for you guys. And as always, go green.
You're the best. Hey, go white, my man. All the viewers, all the listeners. Guess what? Yeah, we're going to be back tomorrow, then the day after that. Hopefully the day after that, should they win Friday. We're just going to do this nonstop until Michigan State decides to lose a game here, which I hope is in April. So, all right, guys, until then, take care of yourselves. Love you all. Go green.